All right, guys, it's your boy Andre, Love Crossing Borders. We're about to do a video review of a gentleman that was on Instagram whose name is Jay Black. His real name is Ray J Black. And over this past weekend, this brother committed a heinous crime. Then we're going to do a review in regards to the importance of mental health, especially for those of us that might be relocating or long-term travelers.
That I would be doing this, but I gotta make it quick.
And sadly, right after making that Instagram live post, Ray J did exactly what he said he was going to do. And first thing that we want to do is we want to give condolences, prayers out to the family members, especially prayers out for the young children that were, his children were actually in his car when this took place, even though they didn't see what happened. So we do keep the families and the loved ones lifted up in prayer. And it's just sad that this unfolded like this. And statistically, it's happening more and more because this all ties back to mental health. But mental health, not only for men, but mental health for us all. So what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, discuss how this ties in with travel. And at the end, I'm going to give you 3 tips that prepared me to get myself mentally healthy for my relocating as well as my travel. And when this was first presented to us in many of our travel groups, because many of us are of African-American male descent in our travel groups, and one guy posted a statement that kind of stuck with me. And the statement that he made was, well, if he had a passport, as if this guy who was in this situation, who has a history of domestic violence, one of the ladies, his ex-wife, Wendy, also had a history of domestic violence. Yes, in 2018, there were cases filed against her in regards to domestic violence. So this was just a hodgepodge of just people that were unstable in all this scenario. And it's sad to say that. Once again, rest in peace and prayers go out to the family member. So the question is, what if he had his passport? Would things be different for him? Because for a person to make that type of statement, or for any of us to think like this, is to assume that if you get your passport and you travel, you will become a different person because you will be in a different environment and you will meet different people and have different opportunities. Is this true? Let's talk about this. First of all, if you have your passport, would you be a different person? No, hell no. You're still going to be the same individual in which you were in the United States or whatever your home country is. Do not get fooled into thinking that if I just only travel, my life will get better. I'm telling you, you can hide it as a tourist. I'll say that again. When you are going somewhere for a week or 2 or a couple days, you can hide it. You can pretend to be somebody that's so happy that you're in DR or in Colombia, which I'm in, or you can be happy that you're in Mexico or in Thailand. You got all the ladies around you. You got good food, good alcohol. It's easy to mask the toxic traveler that you really are until you decide to relocate or decide to enter into a relationship in that region in which you plan on going to. Now that makes a big difference. So if you think that just because an individual, whether it be male or female, gets their passport or travels to another location, whether it be on a cruise or whatever it may be, eventually the real you is going to show up. I want you to take a second out and think about who you are right now. I'm not talking about your career. I'm not talking about your bank account. I'm not talking about how many women you smashing. I don't care about how many dudes you got that's in your DMs because you the prettiest thing with the curly hair. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I need for you to take a split second to think that the person who you are, would you really want this person relocated to another country? Some of you dudes, before you decide to relocate, because it seems to me many of you think that I make it look easy, but I had to take time out and analyze who I was, make changes and adjustments for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years prior to moving to a new location. Why? Because the type of womanizer, because the type of manipulator and the type of player that I was, God wouldn't have given me the type of wife that I have today and the life that I have today, because I would have been so busy being the person who I was, even in another country. The demonstrative person who I was in the States would have been along with for the ride in another country. So don't assume that just because you get a passport and you go to another country that you're going to be a different person. Different people. The guy may have assumed when he said all he needed was a passport, his life would have been different because he would have met different people. Is that true? I say to a certain extent, yes, because you're in a new environment and new cultures and new things you would have learned. But eventually, who you are comes out. Don't think that in Colombia that there aren't guys that have domestic violence situations take place. Don't think that people aren't walking up and doing this, committing the same crime that this individual Ray J. Black committed. They are here too. And if you are a person that is of violence, no matter who you meet, in other words, the type of spear that Ray J brought around him were violent women. Remember, he made the statement that he had just got in a fight with his ex-girlfriend and ex-wife were both in this scenario. Even though the ex-girlfriend was currently pregnant, both of these women were basically saying they fought him, whether he started the fights or not. What's my point? My point is that the type of people that you are going to gravitate to in another country, if you relocate to that country, or if you stay a long time, let's say you're just visiting for a long time, eventually those type of people are going to come into your life. Do not sit back and make the mistake of thinking that you are going to have bad or demonstrative or destructive people or toxic people in your life in your home country, and then you get to another country and only you're just going to attract just wonderful people. It doesn't happen like that. Ladies, if you are a woman that you like the roughneck or the difficult guys or the boisterous guys, and you think that you're going to find a guy that really could just really take care of you and care for you in another country, no. The energy that you give to the universe is universal, meaning that if you attract bad boys in one country, you will attract bad boys in another country. Same thing with you dudes. If you attract women that do not mean you any good in the long run, but she only looks good, you're going to attract those type of women in your new country. Don't assume that if you don't change, that the people that you're going to meet are going to change. No, that's not going to happen. I don't know who put that myth out there that if you come to Colombia, or if you go to Mexico, if you go to Thailand, the women are just so cooperative and so easy to get along with that you'll attract those. No, you will not. Not you. You ain't the type to attract those. It's not going to happen. So don't expect it to happen. Number 3, individual said, well, if he only had his passport, this may not have unfolded like this because he would have had different opportunities. Think about it, guys. The guy had the opportunity to walk away from the scenario no matter how upset he was. Therefore, he handled the situation or the opportunities in a negative way. If you are not prepared to relocate or to visit a country on a long span and opportunities happen and they don't work out for you, you will respond in a likewise way you did in your own home country. If you are rob Peter to pay Paul type of person, in other words, you aren't making any extra money to take your life to the next level in your home country, you will be that rob Peter to pay Paul person in another country. I know plenty of guys that come down here. They blow their money and they give us calls saying, I need a couple $100. I need this, I need that. I understand situations like that. But what the guys that I know and what some of the ladies that I know are doing, they are coming down to countries, taking advantage of the opportunity of being here. But what they're doing with the opportunities is not helpful. It's actually problematic. They will splurge on the women. They will blow money. They will party. And they will only have enough to get back on the plane or have to call somebody to help them get money to get back on the plane. My point is, if you are not ready to take advantage of opportunities, if you're not ready to allow the right people into your lives, and if you have not made changes to who you are as a person, you eventually show yourself as a toxic traveler. And no one wants to be known as the person that went to another country and did something crazy. And as I said before, there are some things that even I had to do to prepare myself mentally to make sure that my relocation to another country, as well as the times when I just traveled, were amazing. And I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can take advantage of. First tip is this: I had to go to make sure that I got counseling. Realize if you're paying for insurance, you're also paying for mental counseling, even though you haven't taken advantage of it. A lot of times the company that you work for may even offer free counseling sessions. I know my company that I worked for before I left the States offered at least 5 sessions that a person could do absolutely free, as long as the counselor that you chose fell up under the umbrella of your insurance. The next thing that I did to make sure that I was mentally prepared in life for life is lies and truths. I had to admit that there were certain things about myself that I was lying about to myself. And then there were certain truths that I had to admit to myself about myself in order to move forward and no longer be that person who I was in the past. And the third tip that I have for individuals that I took advantage of is I removed distractions. I was no longer locked into the routines that I had before. I knew I was moving to a new country, so I couldn't do the things that I did before. I turned my television off. Certain people who I hung out with before, I could no longer hang out with them. I had to get new friends or new colleagues and new associates that were travelers and understood what it was like to live the life that I was about to walk into. These are the 3 tips that I suggest for anybody that's looking to have mental health when it comes to relocating. It's easy to get the plane ticket. It's easy to find the location in which you're going to live in the new location or the place where you're going to visit. But when it comes to being mentally prepared, all of us need to be mentally prepared to not fall into the cracks of the mistakes that we often make in our own home country. Once again, our condolences and prayers go out to the families of these victims. So on this channel, we're going to be doing more video reviews regarding traveling and giving you encouragement to get out there and to take advantage of traveling. However, we want you to leave home safely and we want you to make it back home safely. And if you decide to relocate, then we want you to do that in a safe, wise way as well. Our information, if you have any questions, is in the description of the video. Make sure that you subscribe, guys. We appreciate the fact that you subscribe to this channel, as well as our other channels, Mostly Money and Andrea Wallace Television. That's my wife's channel. So if you're trying to see a beautiful woman who is married to a great man because I decided to become a great man, then go to Andrea Wallace Television. And guys, we will talk to you again in a moment. I'm your boy Andre, and this is Love Crossing Borders, where we show you how to find love across borders or just fall in love with the borders that you cross. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.